So let's go to the Newsmaker Hotline, even though he's sitting here. I just like saying Newsmaker Hotline. Let's go to Justin Williams from the Arizona Technology Council. Good morning, Justin. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How you doing?
Not too bad. Thanks for throwing the pigskin around with us.
Absolutely. Had to warm up a little bit the first few throws.
That takes a little while.
That ball is ugly.
It's a little flat.
You know,
Higgins
like stole that off of a playground or something. It's like, I don't know.
Kids crying.
I just have to outrun the kid. That's the thing. So I picked a little one, so I knew I could outrun him.
So what is the Arizona Technology Council, and how did you come to be a part of it?
So the Arizona Technology Council is a member-based trade association, chamber of commerce for the tech sector, statewide. So I'm based here in Tucson. I run the Tucson office.
And I hear a lot of good things. I'm on the board of ASBA and work with a lot of folks up in Phoenix. You guys are really, we hear this a lot, how doing good work and getting out there in the front of economic development.
We're a strong advocate for growth in the tech sector. We do a lot of public policy. Very effective public policy.
You're very good at public policy.
Yeah, we have a public policy, public policy committee that meets once every 2 weeks. We have an effective lobbyist that.
And are you effective because you have a lot of big hitters on the boards and the intels and the folks that kind of step up and say?
Not necessarily. I mean, yes, I certainly wouldn't want to discredit any of our largest members, but because of the breadth, I think, as much as it is the strength of a few key members that we represent. I think the future of the economy. We have a lot of respect on both sides of the aisle. The things that we pass, the bills that we put forward, generally are appreciated across the board. We improved the R&D tax credit every year for 3 years in a row. It was the best in the country a couple of years ago. So it's even better today. We've made it refundable for small companies where you may not have the revenue today, so you don't really have a use for it. We've the angel investment tax credit, that's something that we created a few years ago.
What is so interesting about the economy we live in, the time we live in? Have you ever heard of Moore's Law, which is every 18 months technology recruits, the computer industry. A hard drive that you paid $300 now is 80. It's just this constant evolution of technology. And those states that are on the cutting edge and looking to grab the R&D and the university systems and everybody to kind of say, look, let's retool our economy, because if we don't, someone else is going to.
That's right.
Is what it's all about.
Yep. It's about innovation. It's about education. It's about staying ahead of the curve, being creative. It's all of those things. Talent, being able to recruit talent, being able to grow locally talent, because if we grow it here, it's easier to grow it in our community than it is to recruit it.
Anecdotally, you guys seem to have one of the better reputations of people that I interact with. Basically, I've never heard anyone say yet, I don't know what those guys do. I haven't heard that yet, which is good. I've heard that about. There's another, as Joe and I love to talk about on the show, we have a zillion chambers of commerce and trade associations. You're the one I still haven't heard yet. What do those guys do over there? I haven't heard that, so that's good. And I haven't heard the word useless or anything either, so that's good too. So you guys must be doing something correct over there. So what's your history with Tucson, and how did you get involved with these guys?
So I've been here for 20 years. I came out here to go to the U of A.
What state are you originally from?
Kansas City. And I had been here, did school a couple different times. I got my MBA, graduated from the engineering program, and did the entrepreneurship program as well. Was involved in some startups. Over a period, I worked for Ventana Medical Systems as a financial analyst for a few years. Quit that, bought a business, and have run that for the last 6 or 7 years. And in the process, picked up the executive directorship for a group called AMIT, the Aerospace Manufacturing and IT Cluster, and for 3 years we ran that, tried to retool that organization, brought in new board members, and about 3 years into that had the opportunity to merge with the Arizona Tech Council, who had just hired the CEO for the Pittsburgh Technology Council in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is the oldest, the most effective, and longest-standing organization.
Is that when you went into policy, really, or were they in that all along?
They had been in that all along. Some of the things I mentioned earlier, they had actually, the angel investment tax credit happened before Steve came here, but really been effective since he's been on board, both in all aspects.
If you could name the top 2 or 3 clusters that we're really focused on, as a defense bio, where do you see Arizona Southern Arizona and Arizona in general.
Realistically, don't give me trio
Yeah.
brochures. Give me realism.
So obviously, aerospace and defense in the tech sector in Southern Arizona is the strongest, and in our membership, that's reflected. Statewide, semiconductor is a big.
The Intels of the
yeah,
world,
up in Phoenix, they have a lot
What they
of
spent
that.
$5 billion or something like that on
Yeah,
a new plant.
they gave us credit for all of that R&D tax credit,
Which
we
the
were a
R&D
big
tax
part of
credit
it.
goes through, and then like right away, Intel announces $3,000 or $5,000.
They had us at press
They had it
conference.
ready.
Yep. Because it's a big deal, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it really
yeah.
is. I mean, those could go in somewhere else.
Sure. Well, and the fact that Intel's building in America something that expensive and that technologically advanced, they want to be in the cutting edge of chip design. This is the whole idea.
Yep.
Great story.
Yep, it is.
Well, and you know, so universities, we talked a little bit about that and the role of tech transfer and having universities. In fact, we're going to talk a little bit later in the day about Alabama, Huntsville. We had a whole dignitary group went out there. I think Chuck Huckleberry went. I think a lot of the business folks went. Folks from SALC, Trio hosted the thing. And Huntsville has kind of turned it on with their tech parks and all the things they're doing out there. And there's a lot of conversation about universities as a role in this process, both for talent to come into the companies and for technologies to come out of the university that benefit the region so strategically. And we're at a precipice with the U of A with a new leader coming aboard that could possibly be that business / academia instead of just academia that can kind of retool it. So how does that factor in ASU U of A in the tech transfer?
Yeah, it's interesting, difficult. I think that ASU had not been historically as effective, high-ranking university in research. So it had a culture that
They were the student.
they had the opportunity. I mean, you can come in the opportunities to change the culture. At the U of A, incredibly effective.
Huge university.
Huge
for
research university.
yeah.
And so the culture reflects research first, publishing first. It's hard to change the incentives where things are effective in that respect, right? I mean, $800 million from NASA just recently, a grant.
For the asteroid.
But I serve on the tech transfer committee for the College of Engineering, and we have these discussions. I think as the quality of the College of Engineering rises back up in the rankings over the next few years, that the prominence of the college and the minds that in a college like that think about tech transfer.
Sure.
I mean, they think about the applied nature of it versus
Well, and connect with-
potentially a scientist who's thinking about how to collect the data.
Yeah, connect with the College of Medicine, connect with, engineering. Eller, one of the problems you kind of have in Southern Arizona is you don't have that talent pool. You got the Desert Angels, which are a big capital source, but who's the managers and the CEOs that take that technology and launch it?
Yeah.
Every once in a while we get a Ventana Medical that really says, look, I love Tucson, I want to make it my home, and we see what the ramifications of that is to our region. We just have to have more of that.
Yeah, there's
support.
sponsored research by companies is I think growing, and it's an opportunity to grow further. There's some initiatives that are going on inside the university right now to bring together from across the campus aerospace and defense related research capabilities, so that there's an established presence that connects all the different departments that do that stuff.
Well, celebrating entrepreneurship is something we talk about a lot on the show, from small business all the way up.
Absolutely.
You have an event coming up with...
We do. It's actually really exciting. It's called Startup Weekend Tucson. It's this weekend, Friday night at 5 p.m. The doors open, and we work every day until Sunday night. The teams that will present presentations around businesses that they've developed over the weekend to a to a judging panel of investors from the community. To get into the little details of the event, Friday night, if we end up with 100 people, maybe 30 or 40 of them will pitch ideas that they've been sitting around. Some of the people will be just, I use my phone, and I would love to have it do this, but I have no idea how to do it. Other people that are there will be developers who know exactly how to develop mobile apps. And if the idea is great and they're able to attract the right people within the participants, bang, something interesting. Hopefully,
Is there
will
a
come out of it.
prize or the business plan moves on or something?
Exactly.
Like that?
So they pitch Friday night.
Where's this
they built
going down,
teams.
Justin?
Gangplank Tucson. It hasn't officially opened, so I don't know that I'm allowed to say
What is
that.
Gangplank? I've never heard of that.
Gangplank's a new emerging space. It's called a collaborative workspace. If you go to Phoenix in Chandler, Gangplank initially launched there.
We're a Gangplank then, Chris, you and I. We're a collaborative.
We're all about that.
It's actually Beaudry RV just down the street
Oh,
from
okay,
here,
cool.
the old facility.
Excellent.
Bookman's is sort of the founder of Gangplank Tucson here.
Really?
Yeah, their CTO, Scott Henderson, is founding it. It's not officially launched, so I'm sort of referring to it as what it will be.
Good.
But that's the space we're working out of.
I might come in and win that thing.
I would love
I'm
it.
sitting on
Much
$1 million
nicer.
idea. I might come in there for that.
Joe, Teddy Ruxpin's already been invented.
I'm inventing
very
something.
much.
I got it in my head.
Let's do something else.
I got a widget or a gadget or something's coming out.
We just had an event last night, a networking event among the participants, and one of the things that was pushed actually is that it's not necessarily about the ideas, it's about the people. How do you get the right people? And
Which
so
is the key of everything, man. I don't care if you're talking local politics or national politics, it's people.
I use this
and you got to
analogy
find that connection.
that if you've got an investor sitting there with $1 million and he's got a team that approaches him that is completely dysfunctional but has a brilliant idea, and a team that is a bunch of rock stars but has no idea, who's he giving the $1 million to?
Rock stars with no idea.
A friend of mine listens to a show, and he told me to turn me on to called Shark Tank. The inventor comes in, I think it's CNBC, I got a T-vote. You come in, and the pool of investors and business folks pitch the idea.
Yep.
So the guy has to give his little elevator speech, and they beat it up, or they buy it, or they say it's great. Have you seen it? I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen
I've heard
something
good things
like
about it. I've got to watch it.
Yep, I've heard the same thing.
I got two questions for you before we let you go.
Yeah.
One, in addition to incentives, Joe and I always talk about how do you make the playing field the best thing possible for business in relation to local businesses that are here to expand more or to attract other ones, because we feel like the playing field's kind of broken.
Right.
What things need to happen statewide first, and not incentives. In addition to incentives, what needs to happen statewide to make this playing field better for the companies you work with?
So the companies in the tech sector in Tucson, in Arizona, and throughout the country, the number one issue is talent, without question. We put that every year, always. And so how do we grow talent? And I think in Arizona and with companies in general, how do you grow talent here so that in the long run we're able to produce and retain? How do we?
Which is so sad that we graduate so many kids and they leave because there's no secondary options and places to go.
I'm actually taking
downtown.
a proposal through this startup weekend called StartupTucson.com, and it will ultimately be a vehicle, I think, to create an online social network and a community where one of the interesting applications of it is that if we are able to form this and make it an active community here, it'll be outside the university. And if we can connect the students that are in the university while they're here, whether they're going through the entrepreneurship program in the engineering college, to a startup community outside, how they will reconsider when it's time to leave, whether they want to go to San Francisco or stay here with their friends and do something interesting.
So, Chris, I think I
excited
told you
about
this story. I don't know if I told you on air or not, but I'm at the Hub with my wife on a Friday. Packed place, and I was sitting down talking to two people that I'm kind of doing business with that I didn't realize they're in venture funding, and they have this medical database thing that, as they're telling me the story, it's just huge. And I had a few cocktails. I'm looking out the window. I closed one eye, and I looked out, and I thought, man, these are the conversations you don't have. You see a vibrant downtown, you see people walking around, and you're having a dialogue about business, like this kind of business. And we just need that more in this community than ever.
We're deliberately hosting the final judging at the screening room downtown.
Cool.
For the purpose of, and I did with a partner, I did the TEDx Tucson event back in December last year.
That was cool
at
too.
the Rialto, yeah. And we've tried to do as many of these things downtown for that reason.
Yeah.
How do we build that culture?
Yep. So any way we can help. I love the concept. Come back on, keep in communication with us.
Absolutely.
So if someone out there has an idea, they're entrepreneurial, whether it's small, big, different, show up, become a part of this process, and watch the magic happen.
Yeah, can I give out the
course,
website?
absolutely.
So we still have a few slots left, and we certainly have the ability to come and watch the presentations. If you go to Tucson.startupweekend.org, you'll be able to register, take a look at the agenda and that sort of thing. There's some videos and other things you can check out to see if it's a good fit for you. We have a few slots, and they'll probably be open.
Well, and if you get some
Friday.
money and you want to do some investing and you're an accredited investor, this is a place to kind of look for ideas.
You can also get a ticket to observe either the pitches on Friday night or the team presentations on Sunday night. The Sunday night ones will probably sell out because it's a small theater, but
Very cool.
We're excited about this.
Well, Justin, Arizona Technology Council, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing a good story out there, and keep up the fight.